In the previous episode, Governor Marcy transformed Margum into the epicenter of Albion. She drained the swamps and in their place built institutions of both culture and war. And now it seems that we're ready to take on our first adversary. Will it be Tarragon, Lucia, or the Raiders? Time will tell. Because first, we're going to need to make sure that our military might matches up with theirs before attacking. And when we're ready, we'll strike. And we won't relent until we sack the villa and claim their island as our own. But before we jump in, I want to thank Ubisoft for sponsoring another one of these videos. If it wasn't clear already, I absolutely love Anno 117, and I really appreciate their support of this series. The game releases tomorrow, November 13th, and will be available on PC through Steam, Ubisoft Connect, and Epic, as well as on Xbox and PlayStation. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. And without further ado, let's jump right in. Before we go full... I want to see how we stack up relative to everyone else from a military standpoint. Now to do that, we're going to take a look at our diplomacy, and then we'll take a look at each of our opponents. Now for Tarragon, it looks like our military is about 2/3 the size of his, our navy is about 1/3 the size, and our defenses are 1/3 the size. For Lucia, it seems like she's at about the same spot as Tarragon. And for the Raiders, their army's 5 times larger than ours, their navy's about the same as ours, and their defensive power is 4 times greater than ours. Now I mentioned wanting to go after Tarragon, so I think I'm going to use him as the benchmark as we build up our military. And the one thing that I noticed about Tarragon is that our economy is much more powerful than his, about 3 times larger. And I actually want to lean into that. I'm going to hit Control I so we get all these indicators back that show where we have issues with supply chains. What we can see right here is that we're missing goods. We're missing hemp. Right here, our output storage is full. And right here, we're missing mud, so our wattle and daub is not getting constructed. Now, seeing all of that, I want to go into our statistics and see where we have shortfalls. Looks like we could use 2 more hemp farms. We're short 3 on tunics. We have a strong demand for soap that we're not fulfilling. We're a little bit shy on our amphorae supply chain. We have demand for olive oil that we're not meeting. And then some really concerning things. We are 5 short on cockles, 4 on eels, and 1 on our reed shoes. And it looks like mud is 3. We're short 3 on our mud. Now, all the things I just mentioned, I think that we're gonna have to build them all if we want to maximize our economy, which is gonna be really important if we're building boats and trying to have a strong military. But I think in the meantime, before we build all of that, I think that we can probably boost our revenues with trade. So I want to go into our trading post. First things first, we're gonna upgrade this. Second, I want to go into each item that we're actually actively using and set it to maintain stock. We'll maintain it at 125 and have a minimum stock of 50. This is going to be critical because it's going to mean that for cockles, for instance, rather than selling it when we get to 50, we'll maintain at 125 with a minimum stock of 50 and only sell when we have more than 125. And now I've gone through and done this with every major item and added a few new things to our supply chain like wine and the bird's tongues, olive oil, and amphorae. Now this is a little bit of a gamble. My gamble is that we have enough housing that our population is going to explode, and that extra population is going to lead to dramatic revenue growth. So let's resume things and see if that plays out. And while that's going on, I want to build some of those things that we found out are missing. So we'll start over here, and I'm going to temporarily decommission this because we're going to extend this out quite a ways. I'm noticing that this warehouse is failing from time to time, so I'm going to upgrade this because we're about to add a whole bunch of eel grabbers out here. While I'm out here, I also want to add the mud dryers. And then we also need a warehouse. And I'll upgrade that right away as well. And financially, we're already starting to really explode, which is great to see. One thing I'm a little bit concerned about though is our happiness is starting to tank. And I've got a couple ideas on how we can fix that. Let's add that shoe weaver. And I'll place that right here, nice and centrally located. And then we'll grab the spinner, put it right next to them. Then in this spot, we're missing a custodes. So I'm gonna add that right here.
Why are your citizens so unfailingly cheerful? Is it because you offer games, luxury, baths, and a holiday every other day? What is the secret of your happiness?
And she's recognizing just how happy our citizens are getting. That is fantastic. But I think that we could do even better. we don't have any of the cultural buildings for the smiths unlocked, and that's because we don't have enough smiths to get there. So I'm going to upgrade a few more of these homes to be smiths. And that's allowed us to unlock all of these buildings, including the recreation ground. That gives us happiness and health and prestige. That's great. Here we get trousers and torques. Those will both help us financially, but the trousers actually increase our population as well. That's great. And we also get drinking horns, which apparently makes people really happy and increases our population. Now, right away, I'm going to downgrade a whole bunch of these. I don't think we need to have this many smiths. And then I'm going to demolish these homes. And that's because I want to place a recreation ground right about here. And that's actually taken us to basically be at 0 with happiness, which is way better than we were before. And while I'm thinking about it over here, there's a couple more things that I want to do. Let's add an aqueduct. This will help with our fire prevention. And I think I'll make this fairly small. And I took a few mulligans to get here, but I think that this is a good spot for this. And you can see that it benefits basically every single home in this area. And now we're actually at a positive with our island fire safety, which is great. Next, let's take a look at our hemp farms, and we'll add the 2 or 3 that we need. And I think I'll round things out by adding a few more homes back here if I can. Next, let's beef up our cockle supply. So I'm going to add cockle pickers basically anywhere that I can. Unfortunately, I couldn't fit one here, but I did add a little bit of a gap, and that's because we will add walls shortly. I can probably add 2 more over here. And again, I ended up adding this gap here so that we can add a wall there in the future. I'm going to see if I can add 2 of them right here. And interestingly, it says there's no warehouse in range here, so I'll need to add one. And I'll probably do that right about here. This neighborhood needs some work anyway. And this will be our start. And then what I think I want to add here is a shoe weaver and a spinner, along with a public market and a bardic hearth. So let's start with the market. I'll place the hearth right here. I'll adjust the road slightly, modify this block, and replace it with the shoe weaver and the spinner. And then I'll try to fix these couple of blocks here as well. And that is a fairly significant improvement in that area. Now we've got to add 1 more cockle picker. And I'm going to do that right over here. And again, at the same time, I want to pull all of this back just slightly. So I'm going to pause it. And with that, we have our final cockle picker that we need, and our harbor is complete. Look at this. Our populations jumped by about 1,000, and we're making over 3 times as much scenario as we were before. But I don't think that we're done just yet. There's one more thing that I want to do. I want to add more specialists to see if we can boost things even further. But before we do that, our happiness is still underwater, and I think there's a couple of things that we can do to improve things. I'll add another one of these recreational grounds. And I also want to work on our trouser supply chain. That's because we already have extra sheep farms. All we need to do is add a weld crop and our hosier. So I'll clear a few homes right there, add this in. And then I think to make this look a little bit less awkward, I'll add some trees and shrubs around it. And then we'll add our weld crop right over here. And this can have up to 100 cultivation area. So I'm just going to encroach upon this 1 charcoal kiln and just get rid of that one altogether. And now that supply chain should be complete and we should be good across the board. Let's also add a Horner. Now I think I want to add this right near all of these waiters, and it actually fits perfectly. We'll need to add a tin mine, and it fits nicely right here, but we don't have tin fertility on this map. So I'll need to import that. But for our ox farm, I think that we can actually place this out in the marsh. Now, cheese does the exact same thing, and all it requires is an ox farm, and it looks like it's 2 to 1. I'm going to add a dairy over here as well. And then we had to add a couple more smiths over here. I think I want to add more of these oxen farm. And then before I forget, I want to make sure that we're importing tin, and we use the exact same parameters that we've been using for everything else. So after doing all of that, we've really improved the budget. We've got good health, good happiness, and good fire protection. Now before we move on from the economy though, I'm going to take the Salty Queen over here and move it over to the traders. And the main reason for that is I want to see what items they have available. And items might seem like items, but they're actually people. And these people can be incredibly beneficial. They're specialists. Right now, there's an unburdener that will reduce our trade prices by 5% and reduce our cargo weight slowdown by 25%. That sounds pretty helpful, honestly. We've got a boar whisperer, which increases the productivity of our sausage supply chain. That's 120,000 denarii. No way. The disruptor is a captain for a ship. He increases the ship's hit points and reduces the damage slowdown. This specialist will improve health, and this one will increase religion if an eel grabber is within range. Honestly, I think the only one that's of value is this captain right here. I don't really want to wait for the ship. I might just buy this one. Then we'll bring it in, and I'll trade for this one specialist. And there'll be 2,250 denarii. That's not that bad.
Call it cultural exchange.
And I will call that a cultural exchange. In another 2 minutes, we will get a whole new slate of specialists. In the meantime, our other ship just rolled in. I'm going to send the Salty Queen over to the other trader and see what they have for us. They have another captain, someone who helps with religion, a specialist that reduces the workforce for artisanal studios, and another captain. Not all that impressed with this slate, but it doesn't really matter. By the time the ship gets here, we get a whole new slate of specialists. I've gone through all of these, and I'm not sure that any of these are all that impressive. Before I re-roll, I'm going to take a look at the other trader, and this is a good one. This improves finance for residents within range. That is just kind of a general good one. And the rest of these aren't a great value. So I'll trade for this one specialist. And now I'm going to spend 7,500 denarii to reroll. And I got another good one. This will give us +1 population if eels are supplied. And I'm going to reroll once again. And I'll grab this specialist that increases the happiness if a spinner is within range. Now at this point, we have 3 specialists and 1 captain. We have, I believe, 6 slots available, so we could get a few more. I'm going to wait this one out and re-roll at our other trader. And this time we got 2 good ones. This specialist increases health for all residences within range, and this one increases fire safety. And this ship is now full, so we'll send it back to Margum. And then back at this other trader, I'm going to re-roll one final time. And I got another good one, +1 population from bread if supplied. That is awesome. And I feel really good about all these specialists. They're going to make a ton of money in the long run, even if we've spent most of our money right now. So let's head back to Margum and get them situated. And while we're waiting for them to get here, let's do some research. And there are 2 things that I want to pursue. In the civic area, I really want to get to this boat. So we'll research down to hazard fighters. And as soon as that research is complete, we'll head straight towards these boats. And now the Salty Queen is back, so let's bring her in, and then we'll transfer the specialists off the boat. And our other specialists are right here, so I'll take them all off the boat, including the captain. And now I want to add many of them to the villa, because the villa is going to have a gigantic range. That'll include this one, which will increase the population, this one that'll improve our finances, this one that'll increase our happiness, this one that'll again improve our population, and this one that'll increase our health. Now we've got one more, and we're going to place her right here. And honestly, I don't know if this is the best location for this, and I think I have the perfect idea. Let's make space for it over here. So I'll remove those homes, and then we'll grab that officeum and put it right here. And there was another specialist in here, He increases happiness if a spinner is within range. We've got a spinner right there. That's wonderful. And we're honestly sitting in a pretty good spot right now. And that makes me think that we could start building up our military and start building some ships. So I'm going to start on the ships, and I'm going to modify this Legio 2, and we'll add the Scorpion module. And we'll get that building, and I'll do the exact same thing here. Now, while those are being built, let's add some walls. And I basically want to add walls to every single coast. I want to make sure that if you come up to the city, it's difficult to get in. Now, in addition to these walls, I want to have some archer towers. And we're short on timber, but as soon as we have that, we'll get all of this built. Let's add some blueprints over here in the meantime. And I'll do the exact same thing at our other two harbors. Now at this point, we're just waiting for timber to be produced and delivered, but I noticed that we've got a couple of notifications up here that we should act upon. First is this one. Apparently we now have the materials required to craft the fake holy stones, so we'll do that. And apparently Ben is satisfied with the quality of the stones. That's great. We also have a festival that can be hosted. This will produce extra knowledge, which is going to be really helpful. So let's do that. Back to the holy stones. Let's find our Mercator friend.
Nice one, Golf. Up close, they don't really look that magic, but you know, a stone's a stone, I suppose. Should be able to sell them one way or the other. Here's a little something for you.
And she gave us $5,000, an additional belief, knowledge, and prestige for 4 hours. That's great. Also got a couple of treaties from Tarragon. We're going to decline these. And definitely no defensive pact. Now at this point, we're starting to run low on our waiter workforce, and there are two ways that we could deal with this. The first is to downgrade a couple of these Mercators. I think I'm going to do that temporarily. And the other way that we could handle this would be to drain some of this marsh over here, which I may do. No, I'm going to do. We're going to do that right now. And this is the basic layout of this area, nothing all that special, but we can boost this and make it even more impressive if we add in some of our city services. So we'll add the Bardic Hearth and the market. I'm going to also add in a Horner and a dairy, both of which should increase the population. And then lastly, I want to make some trousers here. And in this little gap right here, I'm going to improve health with a latrine. Now, this area has dramatically improved the number of waiters that we have. So I'm going to quickly finish all of these walls, and then we're going to start building up our military. Now, before we start adding to our military, I want to do a bit of research. And I can't go this way down the tech tree. I can only go this way, which is 3 additional techs to get here. Though I want to go for this, I'm going to go down the military tree first. And that's because I want to reduce my wall upkeep and improve my tower attack speed, improve the morale and toughness of my archers, and pursue this equestrian cavalry. I also think that healing while encamped is going to be really helpful. And then from there, we can start to pursue this. Now, I once again want to take a look at Tarragon. And our defensive power is almost double his now, which is awesome. But he's been building up his navy, which makes me a bit uncomfortable. And that makes me think that we better keep building ships, but we have to wait until we have more wood. So in the meantime, let's build some more troops. And I think I want a nice mix between auxilia and archers. Now both auxilia and archers are coming from our waiter workforce. So we're going to need to downgrade some of these mercators. Now at this point, we have enough timber to build another ship. So I'm going to do that. But there's one other thing that I think could be beneficial. I'm going to grab this ship and settle another island. And I think that this one could be perfect. Right here, we've got a coast that is right next to his island. This would be a really good staging ground and maybe a bit of a distraction from our island. So we'll build the trading post and claim this island as our own. Now I'm going to speed run building up a decent sized population here. And I want to make sure that we also have fortifications. And we've already got a decent start here, but I want to supercharge things. And to do that, we're going to import once again. And I have a little bit of everything coming here because I think that we're going to need basically everything. This puts us in a position where we can build almost everything that's on the island now, which is great. The whole reason that I wanted to do this is we're going to be training troops right here as well. So we'll add a barracks right here, and then we'll build more neighborhoods around this. And I'm going to start training troops here right away, but I don't want to go too crazy because we have to build a wall right here and have watchtowers available. And these will all take some of our waiter workforce. So with that in mind, we should try to make this more efficient. The recreation ground will go a long way. I'm also going to add a dairy because it should be relatively easy to build. And now we just have to wait for materials to be delivered here. And while we're doing that, let's go back to our main island because we've got plenty of materials to build a couple of ships. And we should be able to build a few new units. And we'll recruit another auxilia and another archer. Now that puts us at a deficit. So again, we'll downgrade. And since we're starting to run out of space, I think I'm going to grab these troops and start to load them onto ships. Now, I've got a lot of troops queued up, and we're starting to run out of waiters, so... doing something like this should help us make up the deficit that we now have. And now while our last few troops and our last few ships are being built, I want to head way over here on our little forgotten island. And the main reason for that is I don't have any defenses here, and I don't know how extreme I'm going to go, but I want to have something. I don't want this to be taken over immediately. So again, we're going to do a bit of importing. And I have this set to import enough goods to be able to defend this area. So let's plan out our defenses. And basically, I want to have a wall that will go from way over here along the coast and all the way to this rock. Unfortunately, we have a gigantic wall that we need over here as well. Over here, we're going to add a villa. And I'll put this so far away, this place will be impossible to sack. And then we'll put a couple of archer towers for defense. And because we've added all of this, we're going to need some more waiters. And there we go. Our isthmus is now protected. So now let's head back over to Margum and grab everything that's over here and bring it over to our new island. And now I think our military is set. But the unfortunate thing is we just unlocked the Legio 3 and it looks like it's a really good ship. The hit points are about doubled. We can have even more modules, which means that this thing can be incredibly powerful. The problem is it just requires a lot of people. So the only way that I'm going to be able to build this is if we lose some of our current fleet, which right now I just don't even want to think about. Now, the way that I've organized these is these ships right here are completely empty, and these ones have all of our troops. For the troops, I've tried to make sure that they're all organized appropriately. So all of our melee troops are together and all of our ranged troops are together as well. So I'm going to grab all of these and bring them over to our secondary island. We'll grab these empty vessels and move them right here. And then we've got to grab the troops that we have hanging out over here. We'll have them board a ship as well. Now, I have been going through and building things over here, but one thing I didn't build was all the walls that we have over here. We've got to make sure that we do this. That'll put us at a deficit with our waiters. Now at this point, we're basically ready to start our war. So let's take a look at where we stand with our military. And our army is considerably stronger. Our naval power is only half of theirs. And our defensive power just dwarfs them. I'm not gonna lie, this makes me feel a little bit uneasy and it makes me wonder if we're making the right call. Lucia has been nothing but nice to us. However, she appears to be significantly weaker. And that makes me think, maybe the best laid plans need to change. We need to change who we're going after. Just taking a look at her city, I don't see all that many troops. It looks like there's a decent sized army right here, but that's nothing compared to what we have. I would probably come in right here where she's got a variety of ships, but we could overwhelm them and then immediately go up the center towards her villa. So let's begin by moving our ships over there, and I'll grab the troops first. I might have them disembark right over here and try to take out all their troops right away. And I'm going to try to overwhelm them by basically taking all of my ships and coming at them from two angles. And while our ships are coming over here, let's do some research. We can improve our slingers, unlock garrison archers, get cheaper walls and gates, unlock axe bearers, reduce the cost of our troops while they're garrisoned, and we'll unlock parabolics as well. And now our troops are here. Before we declare war, I want a defensive pack. I want to know if he's going to come to our aid if she attacks us. And he's got no problem going for this. And now Tarragon and I are friends. And with that, we can declare war. We do that much the same way. Under negotiations, we'll enter a war declaration. We could go for an all-out war or a limited war. The all-out war lets us attack anything. The limited war only allows us to attack military units. I think I want to go for an all-out war so I can do whatever I want. Now, the first thing I want to do is get all of my troops off from the boats. And I think that we've got to attack this tower as a result. I'm going to pause for just a moment. I'm going to have these ships fire at the ships that are coming in one at a time. And then back over here, let's continue to get off the boats. That's not good. Apparently one of my ships was already destroyed. Maybe this wasn't a great approach right here. It does kind of leave us as sitting ducks in this little bay. That's not great. However, now that we've emptied all of our ships right here, we should be able to go and attack. So I'm going to send these around and we'll start to attack. And these guys honestly aren't doing great now. So they're coming around trying to help out. And I've got all of my ships doing the exact same thing. At this point, they are just kind of getting destroyed. I'm going to have these guys directly attack their archers. And then we'll take these units and send them all in. And we're breaking them. We're breaking them. That's fantastic. So with that, we can start to move in and just absolutely overwhelm them. And I think when they see all the troops running towards them, in some cases, they just break. So I'm just going to start running towards them. Yeah, they immediately break. That is perfect. But I'm going to take these ships, and she's got her repair crane over here. I want to go and destroy that. So I'm sending all of my ships over here. And with this, she's retreating. I'll grab these 3 ships and head this way as well. We'll just start destroying things. She's still got some troops heading this way. I'm going to send them all straight into her city at this point and hopefully break everybody as we march this way. And at this point, she doesn't have much left of her military. All she's got are these buildings right here that I'm destroying. That was her repair crane. This is her trading post. She is coming at me from behind. She's trying her best, but she's getting lit up in the meantime. Okay, so now she's got a decent number of troops over here. And I need to pause. I want to make sure that we don't have any archers going in. It seems like it's all melee units. That's good. We'll take the archers, and I'm just going to pull them off to the side. And they have to break. This is way too many auxilia coming straight at them. This is going to help right here. Just going to fire at them from afar. We got a real-time battle tracker, and it's 50-50 right now as far as what's going to happen. This seems like it's got to be helpful as we take out her ability to make any new ships. Now, take out that tower right there. We've got another ship over here. Going to send that one around as well. Now, I can't believe that they're holding up as well as they are, but they're doing just fine. Now, unfortunately, I've got some of our archers over here doing hand-to-hand combat, which is not what I wanted. I do want them coming at the wall, though. Now that we broke them, let's take out the towers on the edge. We'll do that exact same thing with our gate. And it looks like all of the auxilia can fling things at these towers, and that is incredibly helpful. I'm going to take all of these units and send them straight towards the gate, and all of these range units will hang back right here. Sending all the auxilia in at this point, and all the ranged units can focus on this tower. This gate is going to be rough to get through. We're just throwing everything that we have at it at this point. And it's finally starting to crumble. There it is, there it is, there it is. We've breached it, we've breached it. I'm going to send everyone in straight back to her villa. And I don't care about this anymore either. Go straight towards the villa. Let's sack it. Now we're finally starting to see it fall. About 25% of the way there. She's got some units coming in for the first time in a while. So I will change the focus. And we broke him. We broke him. So everyone focus on the villa again. And we've almost got it. We've almost got it. And it has fallen. So now we just have to conquer the island by staying in the villa. Take it then, you big barbarian brute. He's demanding that I make peace? No way. So, I've got some options. If I would have had money, I could have spent it to take over the island. Can't do that. I could spend my reputation to take over. That'll make the emperor not like me. I could burn it to the ground, or I could turn it into a vassal. I think I have to spend reputation, and we'll keep the island.
This sudden plunge of yours, I think death of Icarus.
And the emperor is not very impressed with me. Now, this is interesting. I didn't realize this. I think that she founded another island. Indeed, she has been relegated to this little tiny island in the corner of the map. And my reputation has decreased the troublemaker. Well, checking out this island, I've kind of done some damage to it. It's not doing well, and the citizens here are clearly unhappy. Now, let's be completely honest. We've really ransacked this island, and as a result, it's in kind of a rough spot. This is going to take some time to repair, and as a result, I think we're going to save that for the next one. And I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I want to thank you so much for your time today. There's a million things you could have been doing, but you decided to hang out with me and go to war, and for that, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time. And once again, I want to thank Ubisoft for sponsoring this video. Really appreciate all their support of this series. I really enjoy this game. And again, it releases tomorrow, November 13th, and it'll be available on PC through Steam, Ubisoft Connect, and Epic, as well as on Xbox and PlayStation. And I'll leave a link in the video description if you want to check the game out for yourself. Thanks again for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.